It's the Radio Chatter Podcast, another edition, and today, guitar virtuoso Alex Skolnick, of course, best known for his work in the band Testament. He's been with Testament for 2 different stints. He's got the Alex Skolnick Trio. He's played in Trans-Siberian Orchestra, even 1 gig with Ozzy. We talk about a lot of things, including the recent rash of guitarist deaths, including his friend Paul O'Neill, what he would and would not talk about with Randy Rhoades if he could, and that's just for starters today on Radio Chatter.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
This is Radio Chatter with WRIF's own Meltdown.
Thank you guys so much for checking out Radio Chatter. A good one for you today with Alex Skolnick. The New Testament record dropped back in the fall called Brotherhood of the Snake, and it's everything you'd expect from a Testament record. They got a show, if you're local here in the Southeast Michigan area and in Detroit, a show at the Majestic Theater this coming Friday night. And earlier in the day at Rock City on 5 Mile and Farmington Road, between 1 and 3, Alex is going to be there, and he'll talk about that coming up here, about what that all entails. But thanks so much for checking out the show. I'll tell you what, I did a lot of research this weekend, listening to Alex Skolnick music, the interviews and the whole thing. And this interview is pretty good. Unfortunately, Alex was walking around somewhere in Baltimore, and there's a lot of time when there's this, this whole wind thing. And I'm sure he couldn't hear it, but you can hear it big time on our end. So hopefully if you can block that out and just check out what Alex is talking about. And a few times I think he might have, put the phone closer to his face or something, because it does get a little bit muffled here and there. But yeah, we talk about a lot of things today, including the rash of guitarist deaths, like I mentioned in the intro. Chuck Berry, Alan Holdsworth, Paul O'Neill, just since the year started, joining Testament at 16, and what his parents thought about that, as well as some of the challenges physically and creatively with all the different kinds of music he plays. So without any further ado, Alex was supposed to call, and he called right on time. And here's the conversation today with Alex Skolnick on Radio Chatter.
Hello.
Hey.
This is Alex Skolnick. Hi.
Hey, man, it's Meltdown from WRIF. Nice to talk to you, man. How you doing?
Good, Meltdown. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm recording right now. We'll get right at it and get you on your way, and I appreciate the time.
Oh, no problem, man. My pleasure.
So, first of all, Brotherhood of the Snake is out. That's been out since the fall, and that's been doing real well for you guys. You guys got your show at the Majestic Theater this coming weekend, and the Rock City thing in the afternoon between 1 and 3. What kind of things will you be doing with the people out there between 1 and 3 in the afternoon? What kind of stuff do you do out there?
I will be talking all things guitar, and I do occasionally I do these events that are partially solo performances, partially guitar master classes or music master classes, and I'll perform solo pieces. I will take questions. I may even take a few requests.
All right. You won't smash any guitars, though, right? No fire or nothing, right?
I don't believe in that, no. In fact, I once saw the head of Gibson guitars do that, and I just thought, oh, what an idiot.
It's funny because you talk about that guitars, and, did you ever see that movie, I Love You, Man?
No, I know about it, but
okay.
I never saw it.
So I got to go out there and interview the guys in the movie and whatnot. And the one guy that was in the movie, he tells me that they told the guys from Rush that during this one scene they were going to be mad at each other at this Rush concert, and they were going to be standing next to each other with their arms folded. And Geddy Lee says, "Oh, so like every other Rush concert." So do you ever find yourself when you're playing at these things, like guys are standing with their arms folded, like just mesmerized by your playing, or thinking they could do it or whatever?
Yeah, there's a mix. There's a mix of people, and there are some that are there more, for the intensity of the music. But then there are some that are genuinely interested in the playing. And it's fun. I appreciate playing for those people, and I appreciate anybody listening.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're so eclectic in your music. Of course, a lot of people know you from Testament and stuff, but you got this jazz thing, you got all this world music and all this other stuff. And, first of all, what are the challenges, like, physically and creatively with all the different forms of music that you play?
Oh, well, I think in every situation is different. Like after this this tour ends, my next public performance is going to be with two great instrumentalists, Stu Hamm, the bass player, and Chad Wackerman, the great drummer. Stu Hamm has played with Jose Adriani and Steve Vai. Chad Wackerman has played with Frank Zappa and Alan Holdsworth. And that's going to be more of a mental challenge. And luckily, it's music I listen to a lot, but on a playing level, it's a challenge. Playing for Testament, it's mostly my solo, so it's not as much of a playing challenge, but it's definitely more physical because I'm playing on a huge stage, and the music requires a good physical performance.
Yeah.
But to me, I listen to a lot of different music. I work with these great artists, and I'm just going to play no matter what. So I just I want my schedule to resemble my album collection. So and it's not contrary to what people think. It's not heavy metal day in and day out. It's a lot of jazz. It's a lot of world music. Even some things that would be very surprising.
Like what?
I listen to a lot of classical piano music. Largely, and this is not something I perform, but largely for that reason, because it clears my head.
It's totally it's total dichotomy of what you're used to.
Well, there's that, and also if I put on some music by a great musician, say like Prince or Jimi Hendrix or Miles Davis or John Scofield or ZZ Top, any of those things might get my brain going, and I'm suddenly going to hear great musical ideas, and I'm going to want to pick up a guitar, and it's not relaxing. Because I live like so, music all the time. So when I want to just tune in, I want the experience of hearing music, but I want to have a break and clear my head at the same time. Then either classical piano or a good podcast.
There you go. See, like this one right here. Perfect. Hey, speaking of, I just watched John 5 the other day, and are you friends with John 5?
Guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
It's so awesome. He's a great guitar player. Second time I've seen him. Of course, he's from Detroit here, and I've known him for a few years, but
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, he's from the east side of Detroit, and he moved out to, I think, cool. Los Angeles when he was 17, kind of like what you did. You got an early start, right? So, but
I think of him as an LA guy. I didn't know he was from Detroit.
Yeah, he grew up on the east side. But anyways, it's funny because at one point he pulls out like this little like tiny guitar and he pulls out this banjo and stuff. I mean, you're used to playing all sorts of different kind of instruments, right?
Yeah. Well, when I did my world music album, it's called Planetary Coalition, I played nylon string guitar, steel string guitar, an oud-like guitar made by this company called Godin, and a couple others as well. So yeah, I love playing different types of instruments. I haven't played the actual banjo though. That's a whole other thing.
You'll have to ask John for some lessons on that one.
Yeah, him and Steve Martin.
Yeah,
who's
that's
actually
right.
An amazing banjo player.
Well, John picked up the guitar because he saw it on Hee Haw when he was like 7.
Well, Roy Clark, it's like he's kind of. Yeah, you think of him as that goofy show, but yeah, Roy Clark could really play his ass off.
Yeah, no doubt.
Many different instruments too.
Hey, just a couple minutes ago, you mentioned Alan Holdsworth. Of course, this has been kind of a tragic year for guitar players and musicians. Chuck Berry and your friend Paul O'Neill as well. Give us some thoughts on some of those guys.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. Well, Paul, I knew personally, one of the most driven people I ever knew. I think he seemed like he could go forever, but I think part of what happens, with high energy people like that, as they get older, maybe they don't ever slow down. It's just not in their vocabulary. I never met Prince personally, but I knew some musicians who worked with him, and they said the same thing. He just nonstop, just wouldn't slow down, even as he got older. and it catches up to you. I mean, Alan Holdsworth at least made it till 70, but still, these days that's kind of young to check out. I don't think anybody saw that coming, and a tremendous loss. I mean, at least there's a lot of appreciation coming from Alan Holdsworth, because he's really influenced so many musicians, but it's just not. It's not music you will ever, hear on the radio, or it's not part of popular culture at all. So, it's sad, but it's at least he's being appreciated by the many musicians he inspired. Also, Larry Coryell. I don't know if you know that name. But he's another one who lost recently, and.
We're kind of losing you here a little bit, Alex. Are you like in some sort of wind tunnel or something?
No, I'm in Baltimore. I feel like I'm in an episode of The Wire. But no, I'm actually on a street in Baltimore.
What about a guy like Chuck Berry? What are your thoughts about him?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I mean, there's probably as inspirational as all these names are. There's one probably the most towering. He is. It's without him, either none of us would be playing, or we wouldn't be playing like we do.
Yeah.
I first heard him when I was 10 years old. I saw him in a movie called American Hot Wax, which is amazing. It's a great movie to watch. It's not the best acting. Jay Leno was the star. He had better luck as a talk show host, comedian. But Chuck Berry was in it, and all these great 50s artists played themselves. And he's fantastic at it. And then later, as I discovered guitarists, whether it was Jimi Hendrix, who used to cover Johnny B. Good, the Beatles would do Roll Over Beethoven. Angus Young's whole walk. I mean, I flipped out, when I like many, when I discovered AC/DC, but of course I knew right away where he got that walk from. It was Chuck Berry. So, but amazingly, Chuck Berry started, before anybody else that's been lost recently, and it arguably lived harder. He's notorious for that. As far as like being a rock and roll outlaw, he gave Lemmy a run for his money. Lemmy had a lot of respect for him as well, and he made it to 90.
Yeah.
So while it's obviously a loss and it's sad in that respect, it's more of a celebration, because he really hung in there. I was going strong right up until the very end.
Yeah, like Lemmy.
Yeah, that's true. Lemmy, didn't make it till 90, but I think had he lived, he wouldn't have stopped.
Right, exactly. Hey, so let me ask you about this. So we're getting this wind thing going on here. When you're 16 and you join Testament, what do your parents say?
Oh, they were not pleased. My parents are academics. Just very straight-laced, serious people from the academic world, in sociology and psychology, with PhDs from I got looked at. I got some very peculiar looks and some arguments, and I think now they're very proud. I mean, they see me with my jazz trio, and they see me with artists like Stu Hamm and others, and they appreciate what I've done with Testament, even though that's they don't relate to that music as well. But I think because I became a musician of with many different sides, including some music that they do relate to, they could not be more supportive. But in the beginning it didn't go over too well. So
you said when you were 10 years old was the first time you picked up a guitar?
Yeah, around 10.
Okay, and then you joined Testament just a brief 6 years later. That's unbelievable.
kind of is. It really is.
Yeah.
Honestly, between this New Testament record came out in 2017. The previous Testament record came out in 2012.
Right.
That's 5 years. I mean, that's almost the amount of time from when I started playing guitar as a kid to joining the band.
Yeah,
that
man.
seems like nothing. It seems like a snap of the fingers. So,
right.
Yeah, it is pretty unique.
So I've talked about this before on my podcast, on my radio shows and whatnot, but the song that really changed my life, and we're about the same age, the song that really changed my life and turned me into a rock and roll fan was Crazy Train. And, of course, the legendary Randy Rhoades. Now, you're a big Randy Rhoades guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say he's my first metal influence, alongside Eddie Van Halen.
Right. So Eddie Van Halen, his playing, you could say there's a lot of metal character with his playing as far as the tone and stuff, but because Randy was playing for Ozzy, like that was bona fide heavy metal. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about this as I was driving in today. It's like you go back and listen to those first two records, and it's almost like Randy Rhoades in some ways outshined Ozzy.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Ozzy's, great, especially back then. I mean, he was singing some really great melodies, and he sort of had this whole rebirth in a way after Black Sabbath. He had a whole new sound, and it was working. But Randy was just bringing this whole new depth to the music. It was exciting, but it was musically interesting at the same time. And I think even if you weren't a fan of Ozzy or metal, you could still appreciate what Randy was doing. He just brought such a sense of quality and musicianship, and I've always looked to him as kind of a guiding light through my career.
Now, if you had a chance to ask him or have a conversation with him, what would you talk about?
Oh boy, probably not guitar. Just because knowing what I know now,
right?
And as an artist myself, that people listen to, you just you want to talk about other things, because you're dealing with guitar all the time. The last thing I would talk to him about is gear. Like what do you like better, Randy? Active pickups or passive pickups? What is that, Randy? Tube or solid? I think he'd run away. Get this guy away from me, please.
Yeah, it's so funny you mention that because I'm not a guitar guy. I mean, I'm a guitar guy, like I listen, but I wouldn't know how to play a note if you put a gun to my head. So I don't know anything about that stuff. But I might talk to. I thought that I wouldn't talk about music. I might talk about probably about classical music because he was a big classical fan. Right. Yeah, of course, with D and everything. And the more I listen to those old records, man, I mean, you can't kill rock and roll and some of the stuff. Even as the song fades out, he's just like going to town on that thing.
Oh, yeah. There was also a Cuban composer. I think Rudy Sarzo may have turned Randy on to him, named Leo Brouwer, who wrote classical pieces for the guitar. They're amazing. And one of them, you can definitely hear how it inspired the intro to Diary of a Madman. Okay. It's like very, very clear. So he had that interest and that side, and I think it'd be fun to talk to him about that stuff. And I don't know if he listened to jazz, but I would definitely recommend some of the stuff that I think he would appreciate. Yeah. I just would not talk about gear.
Yeah, there you go. Well, listen, man, we'll let you walk around the streets of Baltimore. The gig is coming up this coming Friday night at the Majestic Theater. The Rock City thing is going to be happening between 1 and 3. We'll give that a good plug and give some people out there.
Thank you.
And And last final thing here, I don't know if this is one of the first, well, actually, it's the first interaction I ever had with Testament was back when I lived in Buffalo, where I grew up, and you guys actually played a gig in a guy's house. Now, you guys may have done that, I should say, at different places, but do you ever remember playing in people's living rooms?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's
I really don't.
I think it was 1991, I think.
Yeah, it might have been like an after party or something like that.
It was actually a radio station contest where you could have Testament play in your living room, and I think you guys played like maybe 3 songs acoustic or something. So,
oh, that's funny. That's funny.
So,
yeah, I believe it. I believe it. You were there. Oh, that's great.
I was there. So, hey, I'll see you this coming Friday, maybe twice, but for sure at the Rock City thing before I come to work. And Alex, really great. It's an honor to talk to you, and thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Meltdown. My pleasure.
Yeah, the big show at the Majestic Theater later on that night, April 28th, this coming Friday night. And then earlier in the day, Rock City on 5 Mile in Farmington. That's at 33425 5 Mile Road. If you're anywhere in the area, you can, of course, just Google Rock City, Livonia, Michigan. He's going to be out there between 1 and 3. And I look forward to getting out there early and checking out Alex and the guitar virtuosity that it is. Can't wait to get out there and see everybody and check out Alex before heading into work. So there you have it, Alex Skolnick right here on Radio Chatter. As always, please subscribe to this podcast. Give me a 5-star rating if you like what you've heard, and maybe go back and revisit some of the past ones. I've had some pretty good ones lately, and I've got some good ones coming up as well. Coming up here within the next few podcasts, the lead singer of a band who's reforming for a special gig, and they're playing one of their best-selling record, their most commercially successful record, and it's entirely coming up at a pretty cool event. We'll tell you about that in the future. In the meantime, as I say always, thank you guys so much for checking out Radio Chatter. Reach out to me on social media at Meltdown WRIF, and we'll do it all over again soon.